Alright, so continue on our Stateflow learning series. Today we're gonna learn how event work in Stateflow. I just watch this example from Matlab and this is pretty useful. Let's go over it quickly. So first, this is an example of turn on and off the light, and we have two independent event here. And in order to set independent event, you can right click on the Stateflow charge, select decomposition, select parallel, and these events gonna run independently. Next, we can go over this part first. So when hour is input data, so when hour is greater than 7 and less than 19, it will execute the brighten event from the light Stateflow charge. So as you see here, we have a forward slash is a transaction action. So the difference between conditional action and transactional action is that for conditional action, whenever a condition is valid, it should execute that action. However, for transactional action, it will check all the conditional to see if it's valid or not. If one of them is invalid, then the action will not be ran. Okay, so I'll run it and see how's the scope look like. You see here, light control turn on at 7 and turn off at 19. It doesn't go to the other state. Light state equal to is because we have only one. We only execute one event here, and I just program the signal using signal editor. So that is Matlab example. Moving forward, our main problem is to control a contactor using the key signal from the vehicle. So I think this example is good for of the design team that working on electric vehicle or any type of vehicle. So let's get an overview first. Here I have a Stateflow charge that control the algorithm and also control the contactor. On the left hand side, we have input, which are contactor status and ignition light. Think about ignition light, something that when we turn on, it's gonna turn to 1. When we turn off, it's gonna turn to 0. It's a physical line. BMS CMD BMS command. This will send the command to control the contactor. Key status is the status of the key state, and contactor status is the status of contactor. Okay, so let's go inside this chart. The first one is contactor, and as you can see, they also run parallel. So first off, we assume the key is off by default, and when the ignition light equals 1, or we perform a turn on action, then it will call turn on event. So the turn on event is here. So it will go, the contactor will go from off state to on state, and it's also command the contactor to turn on by sending a signal to whatever like control the contactor, and in this one we use BMS. Alright, so in the next state, when the key is on and we want to turn off, we also listen to the ignition line to see if it's 0 or 1, and then we execute turn off event. So for turn off event, we're gonna do the same thing, but this time we're gonna run to repair to turn off state. The reason is that if we don't, a contactor may run into welding issue. That means when there's a huge current go through the contactor, it will melt the contacting path or part, and it's not able to open or close again. So we're going to use timer for this issue, and we also use contactor status flag. This is reflect the physical status of the contactor. So if the contactor status equals 0, that means it's fully open, then we can run to off state. If not, after 5 seconds, then it will go to weld state or faulty state, and we also set the status for it. The same thing on the vehicle side. If it's detect faulty state, it's gonna run to other state and set the status, so other part of the vehicle know what's happening. Alright, so that's it, and we can start run a whole example first. Okay, so as you can see here, the vehicle is off, and then we turn it on at 2 seconds, and then we turn it off at 6 seconds. But then because the contactor is still performing, or the contactor has some delay, so it's actually open at like 9 seconds. So here you see the state become fully open at around 9 seconds, and this is a normal execution. What if the contactor not able to turn off after 5 seconds? Let's see what happens. Okay, so now you can see we send a signal at 6 seconds, and we want it to close or open, or we want it to open at before 11. But here you see it's open after 11 seconds. That's why it changed to state 3, which is faulty state or welding. Okay, so now let run step by step to see how it's go. You can see the time here, 0. Both of them are off. Okay. And now as time equal 2, it's turned on. And at time equal 5, it's gonna turn off. At time equal 6, it's gonna turn off. So it's going to prepare to turn off. And it's now counting. And this is a faulty state, so if it's past 11 seconds and the contactor status still equal 1, which is closing, then it's going to run to weld state and report that issue. And the same thing with vehicle. Alright, so now let use normal state. Therefore, normal state is start at off, same thing, turn on at time equals 2 and turn off at time equals 6, and now start counting. And because the contactor status, you can also see here, is equal 0. So before 11, time equal 11, so it turned out completely, and this is a successful execution. And that's all for event in Stateflow.